February 18th will mark a somber anniversary in the Burnsville community. On that date, 1 year ago, a man opened fire on Burnsville first responders, killing 3 of them. Also shot that day, Sergeant Adam Medlicott. A week after the shooting, he spoke at the public memorial, but we haven't heard from him since, until now. I recently sat down with Sergeant Medlicott to talk about what happened that day, the men we lost, and the promise he made to himself in the days that followed.
Absolutely terrifying. It's a level of fear I've never, ever experienced.
That is how Sergeant Adam Medlicott describes February 18th, the day a man opened fire on him and other Burnsville first responders.
Shots fired. Shots fired. Shots fired.
Police dispatch calls from 5:30 that morning give us a glimpse of what they faced.
We're getting rifle fire from the house. Anybody got eyes on?
But that day, that ended so horrifically, started out quietly. In a way, too quietly.
I mean, the day started on the 17th, because that was when our shift had started. So it was a pretty typical shift.
Medlicott had been stuck inside doing paperwork when he got a call from his partner, Sam.
He had called me and he said, do you want to go help them process this drunk driver, or do you want to be out on the road and handle calls? And I was like, Sam, I've been in the office all day. I want to get out. That then led to me being about the 3rd or 4th officer on scene of this call.
That call came in at about 2 a.m., just an hour before the end of his shift.
I've been in law enforcement 15 years. You know when something serious is coming in just by the way it's dispatched or the information that's provided.
A woman called 911 reporting domestic violence and children in the house. When Medlicott arrived, he found another officer talking to her in the driveway. Knowing there were children inside, he and other officers went into the house through an open garage door.
The entire house was black, pitch black.
They couldn't see or hear anything, but then the suspect, Shannon Gooden, started talking to them from an upper level of the house. A good sign.
We knew that it had gone from a dynamic situation to a more stable situation. We thought if you have communication, if you have a line of communication, we can try to work through this and come to a peaceful conclusion with negotiations.
And they had 2 trained negotiators on site, Officers Pete Mueller and Matthew Ruge.
So you had those 2 that were kind of working in tandem inside the house, but Ruge had taken on the lead negotiation and was speaking with him.
And it seemed like he was making progress, and this went on for hours,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And it seemed like he was making progress.
But it was clear Gooden was monitoring them closely.
The whole thought process in our situation was don't escalate him. Try to de-escalate him. Don't make any sudden movements. Don't try to say anything upsetting to him. He's got children up there. Our major concern was that he was going to turn the gun on the kids, and we had to have personnel ready to react quickly if that was the case.
What does somebody say in a negotiation like that? And was there a point right before he fired that you could tell his mood had changed?
Just prior to firing, he said he was going to give up and he was going to come down, and he asked us to pray with him. And he started loudly praying, and that's when the gunfire erupted.
Sergeant Medlicott did not want to talk about the details of what happened next, out of respect for the other officers on scene and their families. He would only say the scene was chaotic.
You are kind of running off of pure adrenaline, and you're just acting out of instinct and training.
But we know Gooden fired on the officers inside the house, and they fired back, hitting him in the leg. And Gooden kept firing as they tried to get out to the safety of the Bearcat parked outside. 2 bullets hit Sergeant Medlicott, one in the forearm, one in the back. His bulletproof vest saved his life.
I was extremely lucky.
But he knew immediately others were not.
I knew. I knew that one for sure was likely not going to survive. I knew that from the moment the gunfire erupted. The other 2, I didn't know. I knew they were in bad shape, but you hope and pray that modern medical procedures can help and save them.
When he arrived at HCMC, no one had to say a word.
By the time I arrived at the hospital and one had come up to give me a hug, and I'd seen the faces of the others, I knew. I think I just knew at that time.
His friends, Officer Paul Elmstrand and Matthew Ruge, and his colleague, firefighter and SWAT medic Adam Finseth, did not survive. An unimaginable loss.
They were the best of us, and that's not a cliche. They were absolutely outstanding human beings.
The road since then has been hard.
Sometimes you don't understand why a bullet finds one person and not another.
But Sergeant Medlicott was determined to do whatever it took to get back on the job.
I wasn't going to let the actions of an evil person dictate what I do with my life. I had worked my entire adult life to get to the point I was at, and I wasn't just going to give that up.
3 months after the shooting, he returned to work full-time.
On the suggestion of somebody else, I started a journal, and I've never kept a journal in my life. And so the first words I wrote in the first journal I ever kept were, "I do not want this to change me." Definitely is an impact. You can't go through something like this and not be changed, but I truly believe I'm still generally the same person that I was on February 17th of 2024.
And on February 18th, all the first responders who lived through that day will be together, not at any memorial service or ceremony. They'll be at a cabin up north.
To be with each other, to embrace each other in our emotions, and to talk about things that we need to talk about if they come up. But mostly, more than anything, is just to be together and to understand that we were together on that day and we're together for life with each other moving forward.
As difficult as it's been for Sergeant Medlicott and his fellow first responders to work through their grief, no one is feeling it more acutely than the families of the fallen. I recently sat down with the wives of Paul Elmstrand and Adam Finseth and the mother of Matthew Ruge. Our conversation Tuesday night at 10. Burnsville Police and Fire hope to send the families of the fallen, along with fellow first responders, to Washington, D.C. in May for planned memorial ceremonies for fallen officers and firefighters. If you would like to support that effort, we have a link to donate at KARE11.com.